Okay, so for today's video, I'm going to start off just by giving some hints for the notes that we were working on in class yesterday. So these are your day 4 notes, page 2. So I talked about page 1 and how to graph. We wrote down a table in class. Now you just need to go ahead and plot those if we haven't already, and then answer the follow-up questions. In this next question, this one is talking about graphing another function. So we can go to y equals for that function, and when we graph it, they're giving us a specific interval. So I don't need to find the x of symmetry. I need to start at an x value of -4 and end at an x value of 2. So my table needs to start at -4 and go up to 2. And when I plot those points, there should be no arrows because it's ending at these two x values. So keep that in mind when you graph it. There should be no arrows in this question. Then you're going to find the maximum point or the turning point and the roots. Identify if they're rational or irrational, and then figure out if it's a function or not and explain, and find out which interval it is increasing. So for number 3, you're going to graph. So in order to graph this, you're going to start off. This time they didn't tell you which values to start at, so you do need to find the axis of symmetry first. So to graph this, find the axis of symmetry first using the formula. X equals -b over 2a. So identify the a and the b, plug them in, and then you can graph from there. And you can figure out the min or max of the function. And then when we look at the roots, what are the roots? Remember, that's where it crosses the x-axis. If it's not at a nice point, you can solve for it by setting it equal to 0. So remember, at that point, if you're going to solve, you're probably going to use the quadratic because it means that it probably is irrational. Then figure out which interval it is decreasing. And then for this last part, given the following 3 functions, which one has the least minimum? So when we're talking about the least minimum, remember we're talking about a y value. So we can find the minimum in the graph by just looking at the graph and finding the lowest point. But for these equations, we need to find the axis of symmetry, which will tell us where the smallest value happens, but then we have to plug it in. Now, these are all going to have minimums because they're all positive parabolas. If there was a negative, that would have a maximum. We could eliminate that. But that isn't an option out of these 3. So you're going to find the axis of symmetry first, and then plug that in to find out the y value. Okay, hopefully that was a good amount of hints for you to finish up the day 4 notes.